Hello, red shirts, and welcome to another episode of Follow Me and Die. This episode is Roll20 for the Absolute Beginner, and the topic is emulating battles in Roll20. In last week's game, in my weekly Sunday game, the party was preparing to assault a castle that some goblins and hobgoblins had taken from kobolds. The kobolds used to work for the dragon that the party had killed, and to try to avoid destabilizing the area, the party has a deal with the kobolds that they'll take the castle back so the kobolds can control it again and uh, keep peace in the area and promote trade and all those good guy ideals. And it just so happened that a former player that, for personal reasons, had to drop out of the game had some sudden availability because he contracted COVID. Good news is he's doing well, and other than a terrible cough, is doing okay. And he asked if there was an NPC he could run because he was wanting to play. And as I'm preparing for the scenario, I thought, well, let's just ask if he's interested in just running the castle. And he said yes. And so we worked out this quick system that I would make one map that would be his view, and then another map that would be the party view, and I would alternate between being on the group call on Discord and an individual call with the player running the NPCs, the castle. And so this really amazed some of the players, and some of them thought we'd spent weeks planning this, and actually it came together the day before the game, and we'd maybe spent a couple hours working out the details. So let me just show you what I did. So first, I created a map, and we'll just call it NPC map here. And I had the crude castle and the road up to the castle, a line indicating trees, and I've got a label here so you know it's the NPC map. And then each of the front towers has a ballista. The two towers on the keep have ballista, and then there's some catapults behind this wall here. And then for the player, I just made these quick little tokens, 200 by 200 squares, PNGs, and I typed what the unit was, and then we would use the blue circle to indicate that there's 20 in that unit, for example. And there was a lot more units than the 3 that or 4 shown on the board here, but that gives you the idea. So he was able to place the units as he saw fit, and then the party on their version of the map didn't see where everything was. All they could see is like what's up in the towers, that there's ballista. They found out about the catapults when they started firing. So here's what I did. We got this rough map. There's a handy feature here. We can duplicate. We are just going to hit duplicate here, and we'll call this party map. And we'll switch to that. So let's just change that label. And then, of course, they didn't know what units were in there till they got inside. And let's get, we'll have this single token represent the party. The party had their ways to sneak in unobserved, and they hid in the trees and observed the area. And so the question is, how did I do it so that the player was able to see the NPC map but not the party map to know what the party was doing? And that is very similar to the idea of moving a single player out of the players. First, we have to put the players on the party map. But before there was a party map, if you click on the player's name over here and drag it to the map where you want, you'll see the icon. If I'm signed in as a player, I'm not able to see the other. So let's do, that's the actual game there. Let's go here. And I'll launch that. Then I'll sign in as a player. And so I see as a player the NPC map. I don't have the selector because I'm not the game master when I'm signed in as a player. I can't change what map I'm on. I only see the NPC map. So the player running that can't see the party map. And if we switch back over here to the game master view, you see the players is on the party map and this one player is on the NPC map. And that worked really well. The biggest complication was switching between calls on Discord, which really wasn't that bad. And I'd ask each group what they wanted to do. I'd switch to the other group and ask what he wanted to do, and we just kind of back and forth. And it's a tough party. It's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I've got 2 9th level magic users, a elf that's a 5th level magic user, 5th level fighter, a gnome that's like a 6th level thief, 5th level illusionist, and then I believe it's an 8th level druid. So they've got a lot of magic on their side, and they summoned an air elemental, and it just was beating up goblins, and it would hit a goblin, kill the goblin, and smear it into a paste. It would break the morale of the goblins. None of their weapons could hit it because it required +2 or better weapons to hit. And of course, goblins and hobgoblins weren't running around with a bunch of magic weapons, so they couldn't hit it. And so that made it easy for them to get in. Use of a fear wand and a fireball and a lightning bolt, and it was over in 5 or 6 actual rounds. And the first 3 or 4 rounds, we did this switching between calls, and then it got to a certain point where it made sense to bring everybody on one call because it was just see what could be done to maybe turn the tide. And the hobgoblins and goblins had shaman and witch doctors among them, and they were not able to overcome things. The player running them sort of forgot that he had them, because had he used a dispel magic here or there, that could have ruined the day for the party. But as I said, the players really liked how that went. It's kind of like the old days of wargaming where you have a judge. That was the role I was fulfilling, adjudicating the scenario and going between what the 2 different opposing forces are doing. And as I said, one of the players thought we'd must have spent weeks on this, and no, it was a lot easier than that, as I just showed you here. And so to bring that other player back with the group, you just drag that player into the player's flag, and then they're on the same map. And if we go back over here, you notice I'm now looking at the party map instead of the NPC map. So I've covered that on another video that I'll link down below. That's a pretty handy thing if the party splits up and one person ends up on a different map than the rest. There's a way to do that in Roll20. And so I just use that functionality to have 2 versions of a map for a battle. That's really all there is to it. I really thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if there's a certain topic in Roll20 that's a beginner level topic that you'd like me to address, please mention it in the comments below. And as always, game on.